Welcome to today's Explainer. As a financial advisor, I sit across the desk from incredibly hardworking people literally every single day. People who do exactly what they were taught, right? They budget, they clip those coupons, they skip the small luxuries, and they save, save, save. But they're sitting in my office looking totally exhausted. They're wondering why on earth they still feel so financially insecure. Well, today, I'm taking off my polished corporate advisor hat. We're going to talk about the unvarnished truth when it comes to long-term wealth building. We're diving into exactly why traditional saving strategies, yeah, the exact ones you probably learned in school, are actually keeping you stuck. So if you've been doing everything right but still feel like you're falling behind, pay close attention, because what we're going over today, it's going to completely change how you look at your bank account. Okay, let's just picture two people for a second. Imagine they started their careers on the exact same day, working at the exact same company, making the exact same salary. Both of them are really careful with their money, and they both make a point to put some cash away at the end of every month. Now, let's hit fast forward 10 years down the line. One of them, let's call him our struggling saver, well, despite all that diligent saving, he's basically living paycheck to paycheck. He's stressed out about unexpected car repairs and, honestly, just feeling trapped in this dark room of financial struggle. But then, look at our financially free investor. Exact same starting point, exact same salary, yet they've built substantial long-term wealth. They have options, they have breathing room, they actually have freedom. So, what happened? I mean, it's the natural question, right? Usually when we see a contrast like this, our immediate instinct is to judge. We think, oh, they must have lacked discipline. They probably bought way too many overpriced lattes or took too many expensive vacations. But honestly, that is rarely the case. It is absolutely crucial to understand that the difference between these two isn't just about willpower. It's not about who has the most discipline. The uncomfortable truth, the one nobody really wants to admit, is that saving money all by itself does not make you rich. Actually, for most of us, saving is just the very first baby step on a much, much longer journey. And if you stop right there, you are never going to reach the destination. And that brings us to something I like to call the great saving myth. Think back to when you were a little kid. What did your parents or your teachers give you to teach you about money? A piggy bank, right? We are fundamentally conditioned right from childhood to believe that financial responsibility is just dropping coins into a slot and keeping them safe. Our schools taught us how to store money, but they completely and utterly failed to teach us how money actually grows. We grow up thinking it's a simple equation, but here's the thing. Storing money is not growing money. It's basically like putting your cash in a financial freezer and just hoping it magically multiplies. Spoiler alert, it doesn't. To really get why just storing your money is a terribly flawed strategy, we need to diagnose a hidden systemic issue that is working against you right at this very moment. I'm talking about inflation. As we all know, inflation is just the economic reality that prices go up every single year. Food gets more expensive, your rent goes up, transportation costs rise. And quietly, day by day, this invisible monster is decreasing your money's buying power. So if you just stuff your cash under a mattress or even park it in a standard everyday savings account, it's not actually safe. It's slowly being drained of its true value by this relentless drag on what you can actually buy. The whole illusion of saving completely shatters the second we actually look at the math. Let's walk through a super realistic scenario. Let's say the current rate of inflation is 7%. So everything around you costs 7% more this year than it did last year. Meanwhile, you've been the good saver, right? You've put your money in a bank account that pays you, maybe a 2% interest rate? Well, if you subtract that 7% inflation from your 2% interest, you get a negative 5%. Think about that for a second. You are literally losing 5% of your wealth's actual value every single year. You're doing everything right according to the old rules, but in real terms, you are actually getting poorer. And over a 10-year timeline, the real-world impact of that math is just devastating. In year 1, your cash has high value. You can buy a lot of stuff with it. But by year 5, that exact same amount of cash buys you significantly less. And by year 10, it's literally like carrying around a leaking wallet. You're pouring all your hard-earned money into the safety net, but the rising cost of living is burning a massive hole straight through the bottom of it. To put it simply, $10,000 today is absolutely not going to buy you $10,000 worth of goods a decade from now. This harsh reality really forces us to look at two totally different paradigms. On one side, we have what I call bank storage. Most folks think, hey, I'm safe, my money's in the bank. But a bank account is exactly that. It's just storage. It gives you this cozy illusion of safety, sure, but with those low interest rates, you are mathematically guaranteed to lose to inflation. On the flip side, we have the wealth engine. This is where your money transforms into working capital. It's used for building assets. It gets actively deployed to generate returns that actually beat inflation. Look, a bank vault is a fantastic place to park an emergency fund, but it is an absolutely terrible place to try and build long-term wealth. So this brings us to a crucial point, and it requires a major mindset shift. Money sitting still is money losing value. Wealthy people inherently understand that stagnant cash just dies. If your money is just sitting there twiddling its thumbs, it is actively losing its power. Instead of holding cash for the long haul, wealthy individuals focus relentlessly on making their money work for them. They treat their dollars like little employees. They put them to work in businesses, they invest them in the stock market, they buy real estate, or they invest in skills that directly boost their earning power. They know, without a doubt, that motion creates wealth and stagnation destroys it. To really drive this home, we have to realize what wealth is not. It is not just saving money. It's not about ruthlessly cutting your expenses, canceling every single streaming service you have, skipping that morning coffee you love, and trying to live as cheaply as humanly possible. That's playing defense. That's just trying to survive. What wealth is playing offense. It's about focusing your energy on increasing your income. It's about investing consistently, month after month. It's about building cash-flowing assets over time. See, wealthy people don't view money as some final finish line to be hoarded away. They view it as a dynamic tool to be used. If you only take one single thing away from our explainer today, let it be this. You do not become rich by keeping money. You become rich by multiplying money. This right here is the ultimate turning point. You have to step out of that dark, stressful struggle of being a defensive saver and step into the glowing, empowered mindset of an active investor. Your money needs a job to do, and its job is to go out there into the economy, work its tail off, and bring even more money back to you. So how do we actually put this into practice? Well, here is a highly actionable blueprint to help you transition from just saving to actually multiplying. Step 1, save for safety. You definitely need an emergency fund, but cap it. Once you've got a few months of living expenses saved up, stop hoarding cash. Step 2, increase your income. Go learn some new, high-leverage skills, maybe start a side hustle or push for that career growth. Step 3, invest early. Time in the market is literally your best friend. Because of compound growth, even tiny, consistent amounts matter immensely. Step 4, avoid lifestyle inflation. When you start making more money, keep your expenses stable and invest that extra cash. And finally, step 5, think long-term. Remember, real wealth is built in years and decades, not in days or weeks. To sum up everything we've talked about today, you're fundamentally choosing between two distinct paths. On one hand, you have mere survival. If you just rely on saving alone, you're going to spend your entire life basically treading water against the rising tide of inflation. Sure, you'll survive, but you'll constantly be stressing over price tags. On the other hand, you have absolute financial freedom. Reaching this takes a three-pronged attack: saving to create your base, investing to put that base money to work, and then growing those assets over time. The difference between these two paths? It's not just a few extra bucks in a bank account. It's the difference between a life of constant financial anxiety and a life of absolute autonomy. I want to leave you with one final thought to chew on. Take a hard look at your bank accounts right now. Look at your overall financial strategy. Ask yourself, is your money growing while you sleep? Because at the end of the day, it's really not about how many pennies you manage to pinch and save. It's entirely about how effectively you put those savings to work. It's time to stop merely storing your cash. Take control, become an investor, and start actively building your financial future, starting today. Thank you so much for joining me on this explainer. Get out there, start multiplying, and I'll see you next time.